All right, so I'll show you how to make the Pear cam here. First thing that you want to do, as usual, is we're going to start a 2D sketch in the XY plane, and that way we're set up from the front view. If you'll notice about the Pear cam, the big deal with it is that we have these two radiuses right here connected by lines, and a lot of people seem to have problems putting those together. So I'll show you how I like to do it. Kind of remember that there's no one right way to do this. There's a bunch of different ways to go around it, but this is the method I prefer. All right. A radius, if you think about it, well, a radius is half a diameter, correct? So here, if it has a radius of 1.25, the diameter is going to be 2.5, correct? So the way that I start is I do a circle, and this is what, and here's a good reason why I always start in the origin. Here, circles are measured by their diameter in Autodesk. So I'm going to type 2.5 and hit enter. All right. So I've done the first circle. That is this bottom part here. The next thing is I need a radius of 0.5 at the top. And I'm going to do a circle here with a radius of 0.5. Oh, I'm sorry. See, I even messed that up. It's a radius of 0.5, which means that it needs to have a diameter of 1. So see, it's real easy to mess that stuff up. Couple things that you need to do next is this distance between here and here. Remember, these cross signs, these are the center of the circles. So we're going to go back to dimension. I'm going to dimension the distance between these two to be 1.75. All right. Once again, I'm hitting escape to back out of everything and kind of go back to home base in Autodesk. Something else that if y'all look at this, you'll notice it says in the hints that we're going to use geometric constraints to properly constrain it. A tangent is required between the arcs and the straight edges, and it's advisable to vertically align the center points of the arcs. So once again, over here is your geometric constraints. These are very important later, and if you don't see these, you need to right click, and where it says show panels, constrain panel, these geometric constraints, if you hover over them, it'll tell you exactly what each of them does. Here's the vertical constraint. So I just make sure that this and this are aligned vertically. All right, notice how it turned fully purple. That means it's fully constrained and it can't go anywhere. The next thing that I like to do, I'm just going to take a line, all right, and I'm just drawing it like this. Notice that if it's properly constrained, right now I don't care how big the line is, I'm making sure it's big enough because I'm going to use this called the tangent constraint. All right, tangent constraint makes a curve share a point with a line to be what's called tangent. The definition, if you hadn't done it in geometry or something like that yet, don't worry about it. Just know that if y'all see this little picture down here, the one that's in black with the circle, that's what a tangent, a line tangent to something looks like. So we're going to click tangent, and I want this line tangent to this circle. And then we're going to do it for the bottom too. I want this line tangent to this circle. Let's zoom in. For the right side, we're going to want to click on the line. You want this done to that. This line, click tangent to this. And then finally, we want it tangent to the bottom part. All right. So if you look at it, what we have is kind of the basic outlines of our shapes right here. And now I'm going to use the trim tool. That's another thing that the assignment told you about in the beginning. And I'm cutting away all of the extra information that I do not need. And we're going to make sure that everything is kind of extended to where it needs to be. There we go. All right. Finally, the last thing that I'm going to do is I need to put this square hole in the middle of it. It says 0.125. And here's why I start everything at the origin. You need that square to be centered with that center point. So I'm just going to use the rectangle tool, put a square right there. All right. But it needs to be centered up with this. 0.125 across. Now, a key is Autodesk can actually do math for you just like Excel can. So I'm going to dimension off this center point. What I'm going to do is click the center point and click the edge of the line. We don't need that to be 1.125. We need that to be half of it. So I'm going to do 0.125 divided by 2. I'm putting the backslash for 2. Because that way, I just don't feel like doing all that math myself. All right. And we're going to just kind of dimension each edge. All right. And there it goes. So we've got the sketch finished. You got the profile. Last thing you got to do is extrude it. And if you look, here's our distance of 0.125 inches. So now that we have 3D model, we're going to click here. And the reason I have to click on it instead of it automatically doing it, because there are 2 enclosed sketches, you have to choose which one you're going to extrude. So we're going to click here. We're going to change our distance to 0.125 inches. We're going to hit OK. And there you go. There is the Pear cam.